Hey YouTube fans, Eric here in the garden. Just about to finish up the fertilization. I want to do a follow-up. It's getting dark, so this will not be a really long video. And if you want more, I have a lot of videos. We started this YouTube channel back in the late spring of 2019. So I have a video on fish emulsion, alfalfa tea, and I have one as recent as this spring talking about the different organics I use. I'll briefly go over it, but again, if you want some longer videos, more detail, look back at some of our old stuff and comment. Before I start any talk about fertilization program, think about what you're doing now, and if it's working, don't change. A lot of people will see roses. Some of these roses, may look a little bit better, and they'll constantly be chasing. What are you doing? What are you doing? If it's working for you, continue to watch the video, see what I do, but don't change. If you're looking for a few ideas, that's what this is about. Ever since I've grown roses, I've done mainly organics in terms of my every bloom cycle. So once the blooms are done, so that's the beginning of the year at the first pruning, then after each bloom cycle, roughly every 5 to 7 weeks when it ends, I'll do a base layer of organics. Typically, down here we have cottonseed meal. It's readily available. Up in New York, I didn't use it because we didn't have it, but I do a cup of this per bush and a cup of alfalfa pellets. You can get those alfalfa pellets at Tractor Supply, Cubes. Sometimes a farm supply will sell it as alfalfa meal, and it's pulverized. So usually a cup per bush. And for these beds, since they're so big, in New York I did around the drip line. So where the leaves end is considered the drip line. Here, they're so big, I just spread it over the whole 100 to 130 square foot bed evenly out. So usually put it in a little spreader like that. If it's organic, I'll measure out 6 cups and then just take it with my hand and loosely do it. If it's pelletized enough, I'll use the Whirly-Woo spreader. So some type of alfalfa pellets, cottonseed meal here because it's cheaper and we've got it. Then some type of rose tone, holly tone, or in this case, this is Mighty Grow. It's also known as Harmony. Sometimes it's a different brand, but some type of low analysis organic that has kind of a mix of everything. This poultry litter, feather meal, bone meal, sulfate of potash, and you'll see that of the 4% nitrogen, about 3% of it is slow release. So I've done rose tone before. It's a beautiful product. It tends to be a little pricey. If I can get it for about $1 per pound, I'll do it. This was sold at our farm supply, Core Farm Supply up in Smithfield. And I think I'm always forgetting it might be a 40-pound bag, but it was only like $25. It was an incredible deal. And I cannot even pronounce any of these names, but it has the microbes, same thing that is on the rose tone bag. They ran out of it this past summer, so there's a pretty good deal on Holly Tone at Lowe's, so I got that instead. Holly Tone is very similar to rose tone. I forget the chemical makeup, but it's got is it ammonium nitrate? It has something that acidifies the soil a little bit more. So just be careful if your soil's already acidic. You may not want to use that consistently, but one season won't hurt it, and it tends to be cheaper than rose tone. So alfalfa pellets for sure, cup per bush. Down here, cottonseed meal. I didn't do that in New York just because we didn't have it. And then rose tone, holly tone, some type of organic, low 434, also cup per bush. Then I'll do some type of synthetic. So the organics are slow release. They should take a couple months to break down. In the case of alfalfa, maybe a little less. In the case of cottonseed meal, maybe a little bit more. In New York, I used something called Wood Ace. It was 14-14-14. I forget what the percentage was, slow release. A lot of it was some type of Nitroform 3600 blue chip. I'll use that in the beginning of the year. But the one that I usually use throughout the year, I call it generic Osmocote 18612, a very similar makeup. Again, I don't get any sponsorship, but these folks, if you live in the Carolinas, do a great job. They mix this up on their own. So of the 18% nitrogen, 13% right there is slow release. So this is great. It is really a 3-1-2 ratio. So 3 times as much nitrogen to 1 part phosphorus, and then potassium 2 parts at 12%. So really good stuff. The big thing is it's slow release. So that's I like it quite a bit. Even the potash is a slow release as well. So that's what we use here. Again, these are mainly for the long run, so I'm not doing this all the time. It's roughly every 2 months after the bloom cycle. And this will be it. Since it's August, you want to stop your organics at some point in early August, no matter where you are, because they take a while to break down, and you don't want to be pushing growth well into the fall. So even our northern gardeners that are watching, as long as you stop by early August, you'll be more than fine. And then I'll continue the liquid supplemental as needed. So that's it. Just want to do a quick update on what we use here in the garden. Hope you appreciate the videos, and comment below, what do you fertilize with? And like we said in the beginning, if it's working for you, you don't need to change. I just want to show you what we're doing here locally in North Carolina. Have a good day, everybody.